Hi everybody, welcome to the first episode of my FAQ series. For those of you that didn't know, this is the subsequent series to my beginner series. In this series, I'm going to be addressing just individual questions and things that I see in the Gen chat that are worthy of basically a video for. So today's video is actually going to show how to get 240 crowns for your guild. So ideally, when we're looking at this, you'll want to try and do this. It's called the time zone trick or royal reset. There's been some other names, but do this. Make sure you do it before midnight or whenever your reset is. You saw that I had 5 minutes left to go here. Ideally, you would want all of your quests to be completed before you do this. And mine is going to look a little bit different because I never did complete these quests. Part of it is because I don't use this account as much, so I don't get around to doing the quests. And I got into this one a little bit late. So depending on your operating system, you need to, before midnight or before your reset, preferably midnight for most people, go into your settings, and we're going to deal with basically the time zones. So depending on if you're using a phone or a tablet, this may vary a little bit. I tend to do my time zone trick only on my tablet because I don't like messing up the phone. But you're going to want to take a look at your location services first. Typically, you're going to want to have location off when you do this because you don't want the device trying to tap into any location-based servers that it's going to conflict with it and tell the system that you're actually on the correct time zone and you're not changing this. So in addition to that, you'll want to go into your date and time settings and make sure that nothing in there is conflicting either. So on this device here, it does have auto date and time based on a network provided. So I want to remove those, and actually we want to manually toggle the time zone. So right now I'm in Central Time in the US, and it is 5 minutes before midnight about. So what I want to do is switch this to something that is further back. And you can actually toggle the time zone forward or backwards. Either of them work fine. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Personally, I like to set it for one time zone backwards. Sometimes I do two depending on where I'm at. I usually only do this on certain nights where I know I'm going to be up and be able to do it. So by doing this, I actually set it back 1 hour, and now it's 5 minutes before 11. So as far as my game's concerned, my game was going to reset itself in 5 minutes. That's when my quests were going to update. But in terms of my time zone, I'm actually further behind now. So what you'll typically want to do, close out all of your apps before your device rolls over to the midnight in what your game is. Mine still has 5 minutes, so I'm actually going to end up closing this entire device. You don't have to shut down your entire device, but I like to be thorough when I actually go through this. So I actually do power down my device completely just so that everything is off. And that's actually what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to power it off. And then we'll come back once it's actually rolled forward. So here I am now back after my clock has rolled forward. I am now at a couple of minutes after 11 in this time zone. Remember, my game was still 1 hour forward. It's actually midnight where I'm at, but my clock is 1 hour behind now. But I'm at to the point where in game my quest would have reset and it would have been moved on to the next day. So once we boot up here, the way that we're going to determine if this worked is by looking at what the quest reset time is. Now, just a side disclaimer, this does not work every single time. You have to be a little bit persistent with it, and it may not work the first time, but I would seek out your guild members. A lot of people know how to do it. Those of you that have dedicated chats will be easier to explain it. So when I go into the quests, if we look at mine, my reset time has actually gone way down. Before, remember, it was going to reset in 5 minutes, and now it's set to reset again in 50 minutes. So what this means is, had I done these quests, and visually this is a little bit misleading, had I done my quests, I would have gotten 3 new quests to start this day, and now I'd have 1 hour to do those quests. So this is where it gets a little bit difficult. You will end up with a little bit of RNG in terms of what quests you get, because sometimes, depending on when you set this and when you do this, it's possible that if you pull the tower level 10 quest and you have to do a tower quest, it's possible the tower may not be open for you to do in order to fulfill this quest. This is why some people will set their time zone 6 hours ahead or 6 hours back, or even 12 hours forward or 12 hours back. So once you've determined that the time zone trick actually took hold, I actually like to go back into my device then, pretty much as soon as I see it, and set everything back to what it was. The device is going to be back to normal, but in game, usually there's a 7 game timer or a 7 day timer in the game. So once you do it once, you're likely going to see that your timer is off for the rest of the week, and you won't be able to fix this until the next week. So I always want to have my device back to normal, so when I get to the next week, it's going to be back to normal. So there are some people that will cycle through this back and forth from week to week, but realistically, if you're getting all of your crowns, you don't need to actually do this on a week by week basis. You do it one time, earn your extra 30 crowns to get 240, and those just end up carrying forward. So you do it one time, your guild has your gratitude, or you have the gratitude of your guild, and then that's it. So now what I did is I waited 1 more hour for my game to actually get past the next point. So realistically, what I had is I had 1 hour to do those 3 new quests that I did. Most of the time, an hour to do 3 quests isn't that bad, unless you pulled the tower quest, and it just takes you 30-45 minutes to actually do the quest. So basically, I wanted to show one more time, once we actually go into the game, after what that exploration would be. So we'll boot this back up here and take a look. And now again, mine visually isn't going to be quite the same, because normally I would have done all the quests first. I would have gotten 3 new quests, and I would have completed those 3 new quests. And then because the game thinks that I have to get new quests after that 53 minutes, then it would have given me 3 new quests here. That's where we would have gotten the 2 sets of quests in one day, which would have ultimately propelled us into the 240 for the week. So I suggest doing this usually Monday night or Sunday night. But like I said, it doesn't always work the first time you do it. You just have to keep at it. So if we go out and look at our quests now, mine still are going to be kind of stubborn, because I never did finish those 2 guild quests. So I'm still stuck with the same thing. Realistically, I would have seen 3 new quests out here. But if you take a look at my second quest there, it actually did switch its focus to a different quest though, because it's not the same one that I was working on, and it actually reset that one as well. So you did see a little bit of an update here, but the first one stayed the same. And actually, I can't remember what the actual one that I completed was, but I did complete one of the quests before doing this. So I actually have 10 guild crowns. I look through here, I don't see any other ones hiding anywhere, so it's basically, once I finish these 2 quests, then I'll start getting 3 new ones on the next daily basis. But I'm so early on that I can't complete all the quests every time. So hopefully this was a helpful video. Like I said, there's a lot of nuances to it. So if you're ever wondering, when you see that in Gen Chat, how a guild can request that you have 240 crowns per week, this is basically how it's actually happening. Now, you can debate this all day long, whether it's a hack or a cheat or an exploit. Personally, I think it's the mechanism behind it. I can understand it, because they need to be able to have some consistent way of dealing with time zone changes and just dealing with people in other countries or other time zones, so that they have a fair shot at these guild quests. I see pretty much all the top guilds do it, so I mean, it's not really an advantage for most people. And honestly, in our guild, the only reason people ever really miss crowns are when something odd happens in game and something glitches out, or if something happens in real life where it's mostly accidental. Somebody is accidentally booted from the guild, or perhaps somebody drops from the guild without us knowing about it, and we lose crowns that way. Otherwise, as far as quests go, nobody really misses the quests once you get into the top tier guilds, which actually brings me to my next point. If anybody from a dev channel would ever stumble upon this, I think honestly the way to handle guild crowns has been right in front of us for the last few weeks now with the PvP seasons. Because nobody's actually really missing these quests in the high-end guilds, or even in the mid guilds. There's a lot of mid guilds that are still getting 210 crowns per day, or per week rather. What I think the best option would be is for these guild quests to actually be spread out over the course of a week, similar to a season. So instead of having 3 quests per day, just give everybody, let's say, 30 quests total, and have them complete them at some point over the 7 days. And maybe some of them stack behind each other, like we see with some of the event quests. Like we might have one up here that says win 2 PvP raids. Once we do that, maybe the one right behind it is win 2 PvP raids with a beast. Then behind that is 2 raids with a rogue. And so you can't do them all at once, but you'd get them as you beat them. And so then if you beat all of your quests Monday or Tuesday night, so be it. You've earned all of your crowns for your guild. So what I think, in order for that concept to work, is we would have to have more quests for one, because people would be doing them pretty heavily. And I think they'd ultimately have to be harder quests as well. But right now there's not really any challenge for the higher end guilds to complete their quests per day. So if there's no challenge for the quests, it kind of defeats the purpose anyways. Why not just give everybody a bunch of crowns? It seems kind of pointless. So I think a rework of the crown system is in place, and then having that set up as a season-based concept over the course of a week instead of a daily reset would completely negate the impact of a time zone trick anyways, because it just simply wouldn't be necessary. Yeah, I don't need to get 240 crowns because I'm just going to do all of my quests. And so in this case here, by setting it up as a season-based concept, you wouldn't ever have to worry about anybody having excess crowns, because it wouldn't be possible to get excess crowns, because it wouldn't be based on a quest reset time. Now, realistically speaking, you would have to build in a buffer towards the end of it to make sure that quests can disappear so that people actually can't carry them forward. That would be the only way that they would be able to do it. So you'd have to run it almost from Monday through Saturday and have Sunday with no quests at all, so that that buffer goes away. And then we wouldn't have to worry about time zone trick. But I think, honestly, that's a better idea than what we currently have. Hopefully, as the game evolves, we'll see a little bit more usefulness in this, similar to what we see with a tower. I mean, all of us at level 70 are just beating the tower, just a matter of fact every day. It's not a challenge for us. We know we're going to get it, so why not just give us 300 gems per day as our reward? I don't know. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. And as always, thanks for watching.